Hey, howdy, hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another Cosmonarchy cast, and today we're going to be taking a look at the TheNightFox against Kenoli, some ZVZ action for you. We are definitely going to be, I think, very interested in this particular map, in this particular matchup, I should say, and it's actually not a Jugajuk map. This one is by BiddyB. This is Serenity, the first pick here. We'll see what ends up happening between these two. The TheNightFox is going to be our, I guess he's probably still rocking Coyote Brown in the bottom left here. Yes, he is. And in the top right, he's going to be Kenoli as the pumpkin Zerg. We love to see Kenoli rocking the pumpkin. We've got a Kagran on the way here for Fox, and looks like it'll be hatched first from Kenoli. Whoa! Okay. I like that. I can dig that. We'll have to see about that one. Yeah, that's very interesting. I guess I'll have to camera hockey the the expansions a bit sooner than I thought. Let's take a look at the veto for this particular series. In here, right in the middle of your screen, you'll see we've got Serenity picked by the TheNightFox and Brainstorm, map number 2. First time we'll be seeing that map. That's going to be a good one. There is Decapitation and Mass Destruction vetoed, banned. See you later. Those are going to be out in the first round before the picks. And then the second round of bans were Near Impact and Check Stealer. Interesting, Fox doesn't want to play Near Impact. Radium and Kingwa Valley are up next for play. So we're guaranteed Serenity, Brainstorm, and Radium. And if we need extra maps, we'll go to Kingwa Valley for Kenoli's second pick, Crisis Vector for the TheNightFox's final pick. That is going to be our decider, if we even need it. It's going to be a pool into, I guess, Larvosk follow-up behind that hatch first, as Kenoli is going to be going up against Fox's pool into second Larvosk. Pretty bog standard stuff here. I guess when the Zeths finish and start moving across the map from a normal pool build, like, I think hatch first probably struggles versus, like, 6 pool, because I believe that the 6 pool would get, before the hatch actually finishes, the Zeths would arrive. I don't know if that counts as a counter immediately. You can go after the hatch, obviously, but you can also make really row course and pull workers or whatever to try to fight that desperately, but I think that would probably make it very untenable anyway. It seems like it would be risky. As you can see, Kenoli has his own Zeths out, so no real issues there. He's just going to, you know, pair one Zeth off to chase after. No, he's actually going to completely leave that. Like, yeah, what are you going to do? Attack my full-blown, you know, hatch first move? I'm making 6 Zeths and sending them your way. Looks like he's going to send 1 back, and he's going to pull workers to clear the Zeths. And that's as the Quas are hatching him for Fox, and he's going to riposte that Zeth run by. So, you know, both attacks end up immediately fizzling out. Kenoli obviously not going to be too happy with losing most of his Zethar cores already. So that is a bit of an awkward position, but he can make some Quas, and he is doing so. And I would love for him to, yeah, indeed, put down a Kagran there. Makes a lot of sense. Fox going to go for his own expand. So natural's taken by both players, and, well, we don't always see that in ZVZ, so it's good to see that, you know? It's not always one-base wars, I promise. As the Quas push forward, they're actually going to burrow. I don't hate this, because if you close the distance, so to speak, you are going to get run up on. Now, he needs to unburrow and you reinforce, and that's exactly what Kenoli is doing. Now, unfortunately, Fox got a little bit closer than Kenoli would have liked there and was able to focus fire individual Quas. But the Circuit is up, and it has that extra armor so that it will be more impenetrable by the Quasilisk. You'll need to really focus it down. A lot of health to break through, plus you're going to be attacked by Quas the whole way through, right? So, Shroud coming for Kenoli. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that. If Fox wins versus... Well, I guess I should say, no matter who wins in this series, they face Krankendown next, so it's going to be ZVZ here. I was saying if Fox wins because he's the higher seed, but Kenoli and Fox have definitely played a lot of matches against each other historically, and I believe they played a little bit before the series was played, which is very amusing to me. Kenoli has a habit of doing that. Although Fox and Kenoli definitely trained each other up quite a bit, especially in Z-Mirror. Let's see what ends up happening here. It's good practice for either of them as they have to go up against the winner of their March Invitational group, Krankendown. Defeated Shopkeeper Dog in 2 out of 3 games, and also defeated Art of Turtle in both matches that they played against each other. So very solid showing there from the man, the myth, the legend, the Crank. I think this might be a perfect color guess series, by the way, because Kenoli always likes Pumpkin, Fox always likes Coyote Brown. I think the series was played before they reset their configs. I don't even know if Kenoli did that. Fox definitely did because we were doing like desync testing and stuff, so Could be interesting to see whether or not that changes anything. But anyway, we do have the Shroud coming for Fox now. Zoryus are the name of the game for Kenoli, not going for Lake is for crowd control or anything. An Ovaleth with 6 claws is dispatched for Fox's base. And I guess this Gambit from Kenoli going hatch first, it's kind of like if it doesn't die in the immediate early game and if you don't get punished, it does kind of feel like you get into a situation where the it just turns into a macro game really fast, right? Like your opponent kind of has to expand to keep up with you. Fox leading in workers and in military units. Kenoli just maybe hasn't quite spent his money as well as he could, but he is just now trying to catch up worker-wise. See if we can go up against this frontal push. There is a Khaz'trith on the way, which adds more attacks to some of these units. They can target more than one unit, and any extra attacks are going to be dealt at half damage. So it'll be very helpful in gunning down these Zoryus way faster than you think. The Lake is adding a ton of value there as well, but as this frontal army re-engages, there is indeed going to be an attack on the drill. There's not really much focus fire over here. The drill will help out a little bit. If it was like behind here, it would have forced the drill away. But it does look like only 3 workers will go down. Oh, 4. A 4th one. 5th one. Whoa, okay. I think maybe even a 6th one might go down. No, they were on attack move. So a crushing defeat militarily for Kenoli. He loses pretty much every unit that he's got. He evacuates with like Quas and 2 Zoryus. But he does end up picking a number of workers. I think 5 workers total. And that isn't quite the difference between the two, but it definitely narrows the gap. So Kenoli can definitely make some stuff happen. His Ovaleth's still scouting around to see what's up and what's going down. And I think I said earlier this is like a BDB map. It is a BDB map as far as the layout is concerned. Actually based on Omnivore, which is an old map I made. Like at least it's inspired by as opposed to based on. That implies I did more work for the layout than I did. I had no involvement in the creation of this particular file. Just that the layout maybe inspired some stuff in the mid-game, the middle of the map. But Jujic did decorate it, so credit where credit's due. Jujic is also the admin for the series. The Lakers are here to prevent this run-by or push through from really getting any closer. The Khaz'trith also going to turn Kenoli away. Gorgs are being made on both sides. Looks like what do you have? Oh, we've got actually 7 Gorgs being made here. I think you get suspicious when you don't see the ground army swelling. And Fox should know that some air is on the way. Dude, look at Kenoli's money. Am I watching this in the right version? I mean, I am. That's a rhetorical question, but goddamn. Where's your moolah, son? You could have like 3 to 6 more hatches and still have money left over. Gorg's leaving the building for Fox as well. And it looks like Kenoli's been cowed into kind of pulling back. I wouldn't mind if he sent like 3 Gorgs out here to try to wipe the worker line or something and then kept the rest of them back to... Gorgs are actually really good against other Gorgs. When you think about their corrosive touch on their anti-air attack, you can basically come in here and attack the Gorg with a Gorg and then Quas do more damage to it. They actually deal full damage to it. The Larvask will be the first victim here. Again, Kenoli not quite spending down his cash money. He's going to see if he can push forward, but he does so just in time to meet the Lakers, and he's obviously not microing that army, so he won't be able to step on top of them. The Larvask goes down. It's completely killed. Unfortunate there. I didn't see whether or not there was like it doesn't look like a Droleth died on top of it, so it might have started remorphing. Oh no, there's the Droleth, of course. Okay. I was wrong. So it does fully die. Significance there being that if it died while it was remorphing, and maybe it was a Larvask remorph attempt and it just got full killed, and that would have been very sad. Gorgs are not going to do very well against Gorg Quas, that's for sure. And they are just going to go ahead and try to make a mad dash across the map. We got more Gorgs in the middle. They could probably engage these Quas alone without the Gorgs of Fox to kind of help them out. And he's lost track of where Kenoli's Gorgs went. So it's a funny chase where the Flying Ultras are moving around slowly. The Quas are trying to DPS him down, especially once the Armor Rend is applied. Hard to tell how many Gorgs each player has, but this is going to slightly edge towards Fox. And this will be the silliest fight you've ever seen. Yeah, there you go. There's our screenshot, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the thumbnail. What do you do when your enemy only goes Gorgs? Turns out you make a lot of Hydras. He's still going to make a mad dash in, see what he can do for any sort of action there, but the burrow is good. No targets for him to piggyback off of by attacking the Spraith or anything. And they're going to get run down and exterminated. Kenoli now has less money than Fox at the very least. It's been a chaotic match, and multiple Spraiths are being made here, including ones in the mineral line. I don't know if I like that one. Ground army coming on back. Feels to me like there's way too many ground units here for Fox to worry too much, but the Zoryus will definitely take a while before they go down. The Rillarokor is rending the armor, though. Definitely helping out quite a bit. Oh, brother. The Gorg's coming in to eat up all the claws. No armor rend left for Kenoli. So he is out of the picture now with his ground army. He doesn't have any anti-air. He's probably dead. He's going to see how long he can stall out. Maybe he can do something magical. But I think Fox is going to take the first game of the series. And it'll be down to Kenoli to win on his own map pick. Up next. Let's see how easy it is for him to bust all of these circuits. The Gorg's coming in to swoop on. GG is called a little bit, I'm surprisingly fast there. Kenoli sometimes does stay in the game a little bit longer. And that will wrap up our opening matchup. Let's get into game 2 between these two Zergs. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brainstorm. It is its competitive debut. We've got the TheNightFox in the top right as our Coyote Brown Zerg. And Kenoli in the bottom left as our Pumpkin Zerg. Brainstorm a port of Blue Storm. It's Raining Intellect. I ported it, and it was Hit 'em Up's map request, one of his many monthly map requests that he gets for donating at a certain tier, and it looks like this will be a 6-pool from Fox. Interesting. Well, we'll see if Kenoli can do the 8-pool build. He doesn't seem to be harvesting any Vespene. Oh, I think he's going to go hatch first, and I think Fox has the idea. He's going to go hatch first into a 6-pool. Okay, Fox is definitely going to see. We're going to limit test that. You know, I was saying earlier, how easy is it to go hatch first? I think on this map you really don't want to. But if anybody hasn't played Blue Storm, they don't remember it, you can very clearly see this is like a classic move, right? We'll reveal the whole map for a moment. And this is brilliant, right? Because you've got all of these these like really tiny little chokes. Most units can't even fit through there. You got to use the other sides of the map. Now, new to the map are all of these treasuries that you can both return resources to neutrally, and you can also just blow up to open up more of a passageway. We've got the temples here, acting as neutral power generators and also as blockers. I don't think the neutral power generator part will ever factor in, but Protoss can build around there basically without needing to build a pylon. Same on the other side for those neutral treasuries. So those are the path blockers, and otherwise, there you are. So we're going to go ahead and hide the map. Sometimes if you reveal the minimap and then unhide it, well, no, maybe I'm thinking of toggling vision in StarCraft Remastered. Anyway, Fox is going to go ahead and offensively put down a K-Grint while I was talking about that. There's the second one. Going to cancel the other one. He's really trying to deny mining time. This is going to allow the Rillarokors to come out. He made the pool. Does he have Zeths? He does. Okay, so 6 Zeths are on the way. There's 2 Rillarokors already. He's not making his own circuit, though. And I think he really needed to be making something other than Rillarokors. His pool's going to get focused down immediately. That's going to be a circuit. He's pulling everything he's got. He's got to make quads here, I think, as opposed to Zeths, because oh, that is so heartbreaking. I think it's basically a wrap here, folks. This is a funny circus show here. It's definitely something that Fox will remember being done to him versus from Art of Turtle. And, there was fateful words said that day. It's GG as Fox streams directly into Game 3. That's the decider. That's a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, is this the fastest tournament set we'll see all day, all tournament long? Well, you got to join me in Game 3 to find out. Here we are, map 3. Could be our final map here. Kenoli is up against the wall, back in the corner, backed up into a corner, and he is struggling. Fox in the bottom left as our Coyote Brown Zerg once again, reprising his role. And this is an instant scout from Kenoli. He's going Pumpkin Zerg. I wonder if he's going to go the offensive K-Grin himself. And he isn't harvesting any Vespene, so he's definitely going to be going for that hatch first, or maybe it's a pool first. We'll find out shortly. But Fox is harvesting Vespene. It looks like it'll be K-Grint into pool, or maybe he's going to do... I think he might be more of a pool into K-Grint guy. Hard to know sometimes. But he's not 8-pooling, he's 9-pooling if it is a pool. Yeah, it is. I'll have some defensive tools here, as Kenoli is going to go for that hatch. Honestly, what I would love is a proxy hatch, but that's totally unmapped. I guess you could probably build it here. Would you ever check here for a proxy hatch? I don't think so. Oh, he scouts the pool. Timing. He knows it's not a 6-pool. Where does he want to go with this? He is going to come back. I think he will actually go for that late K-Grint. Yeah, there it is. Instantly pulling 2 workers. Oh, 4 workers. He's taking this very seriously. Making his own circuit. This is an anti-6-pool build. Maybe it was always a 9-pool instead of an 8-pool. Either way, it probably doesn't matter too much. He's going to just go ahead and cancel that. A little bit of economic harassment, kind of slow down the things. It will be pool into circuit. It does not look like Kenoli wanted to try the hatch first into what he saw here. It's a slightly faster pool. And, you know, I think it's like the normal timing is you go Kagrin into Pool into Larvosk. Sometimes people go straight Kagrin, Larvosk, and then Pool. And then sometimes people do Pool, Kagrin, Larvosk. It really depends. But the more traditional one is, I think, Kagrin first and then Pool. So you harvest up the gas count while you're doing that. Probably matchup dependent as well, right? In the same way that, like, the exact timing of your Fulcrum is going to be different TVT compared to TVP, that kind of stuff. Assuming you're going a mech opener in those matchups anyway. So this circuit is blocking a little bit of gas harvest efficiency here. He is going to need to throw a third worker there, so that's a little bit rough for Kenoli. Second Larvosk on the way for Fox. He's going to be supercharging his production. Still staying one larva per 14 seconds ahead of his opponent. That is a resource unto itself, especially with how many cheap units you can make as Zerg when you go Pool. Kenoli really should put down a hatch. Like, he's got so many minerals in the bank that he just can't spend. So I hope he's going to do that. Instead, it looks like he's going to continuously block his stuff a little bit. What happened here? We've got 2 Quas in the base. The other Quas went on a scouting mission. Well, at the very least, there's only the wounded Quas left, and the Riller Rokors can hunt it down, so no worries there. Scouts, at least he scouts enough to see that that's a Larvosk, right? So, I mean, it's a little bit of info. Frankendow has done this kind of thing as well, where he puts his Larvosks in funny places. I've noticed that. I say funny. I mean, the defensive utility is there. It's blocking resource efficiency in this case. I don't think Frankendow would make that particular placement error, but nonetheless, an option. Overall, I think what I'm seeing from Fox allowing him to win that first game, partially it was macro. Like, we saw Kenoli get up to 2,500 minerals. So it's not like he's playing fabulously, per se, on the macro department. That is a common weakness of Kenoli's, is having too many resources in the bank, not enough resources leveraged out on the field. But I think his decision-making when he scouted the Gorgs was good, too. And unlike Kenoli, I mean, we didn't really come into that game on Serenity, but unlike Kenoli, he didn't put his any anti-air defenses in the... He didn't really make that many, but to the extent that he didn't put them here as a target that you can attack Droleths with. Because even if they're burrowed, the splash will still hit them. That's something that we've talked about maybe changing, as far as, like, whether or not the melee splash or even Skithracore line trace can do the trick, which is in some ways more pernicious because you can attack just the Hatcherosk with that. You don't need another target. But for right now, that's how it works, right? And, like, this is like a general mentality thing, is like, even if there's a thing about a game that you might find contemptible or not to your liking, having the gusto to just say, well, that's the part of the game, and this is a competition, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm gonna deal with that. I'm gonna kind of practice around that or plan around that. That kind of mentality will almost always be better, I think, for general, like, gameplay and improvement, right? So he's pocketing a bunch of Zets out here. Kenoli going for that Vornath. I think he wants to set up for a Vornath. He's trying to push V on him. Kenoli is a perpetual push V'er. Perennial V pusher. Some of the upstarts, some of the newer players, they are closing in on at least a year of being within the community, which is kind of wild how fast time flies. We'll have to go back and figure out when Kenoli joined us and all that. Lots of Quas coming out for him. He's got plenty of Larvosks. And as Vornoth is done, we are seeing Gorgs come out of Fox, though. And remember what I said about that worker layout, right? Like, you can't burrow to avoid that. All his Quas are getting punctured, making another round of him. He is very dangerously at risk of getting eviscerated by the potential of Gorgs, though. Like, I am very worried about that. He's even stacked up 2 Larvosks in the back there. Very juicy targets, no anti-air defenses. Nothing here to apply, like, the armor end. I guess you could put the Rokors underneath it, but not as steady as actually applying it with an attack. And look at this. The Zets are going to get covered by those Gorgs, at least revealed. And so he's just going to start running them in. So many Quas here. Kenoli is going to get a couple of Zets in, but it's not going to be nearly as many as he would want. At least he knows there are Gorgs coming. He also knows that there are Gorgs hatching back at the base, so there's plenty more. So he can actually start adding more Spraiths and stuff. This is going to be really hard to... It's like really difficult SimCity to walk around in. But I guess if the Quas prevent the Gorgs from flying over, or at the very least, like, shoo him away, How many Gorgs does Fox have? He's got 5 going towards the base. That's doable for this amount of quads. Problem is, like, can you also deal with the ground army? And the hatch is already up for Fox. His expansion is coming. His tempo, his macro a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. So giving him the edge here. More Gorgs on the way. Although, I think a lot of them are back home. No, I guess not. Now the quad's kind of clearing some of this up. They are going to see. Look at all them Gorgs. And look, he abandons this little post. I guess he still has some of the Spraiths there. We are looking at some wounded Gorgs, but none of them have fallen yet. That's very critical as the Zeth Quaz combo struggling to get out there. That's prime fodder for the Gorgs to come in and splash down. One of them has finally fallen. There's still 4 more. Defenses galore here in Kenoli's main base. 11 pairs of Quaz on the way. We got plenty more where that came from for Fox as well. Vagrant will be whittled down. Droleth survives the regression. And only 3 Gorgs left, one of them being so wounded. This is an opportunity Kenoli cannot afford to miss out on for an army reset, but he's struggling to move his Quaz a little bit. Got his worker in there as well. His Quaz definitely winning the trade so far, but the Gorgs can really change that. And he made a round of Zeths behind it. So if the Gorgs don't end up getting cleared out, yeah, okay, now it's a situation where the reinforcing Quaz won't necessarily be enough. The Zeth's going to help tie them up, and Kenoli can go for his expand with that regressed Droleth from before. Very helpful. Looks like Kenoli has forced the cancel on the attack as the TheNightFox is going to kind of lick his wounds. He's making 3 more Gorgs. That's actually all he's got for Gorg production right now. Like he doesn't have any out on the field is what I mean to say. He's adding more production in the form of hatches. Hydrath then now for Kenoli, who's still on Quad Larvosk and the hatch in the main. What do we got in here comparatively? Yeah, it's like even because of the natural being up. So they're going to remain even with each other production-wise. A good reset from Kenoli, but remember, the expand is working wonders for Fox. He's getting more Vespene. He can afford to make more Gorgs and such. Kenoli has been banking a lot of Vespene. He could go for a tier 2 rush, but it feels like it's probably not quite going to do the trick. At the very least, we are getting a solid game out of these two in our 3rd and could be final map. I would love to see Kenoli like force a reverse sweep or at least threaten it, right? Posting up one, you know, losing with dignity. If that is gonna that is how it's gonna be, because obviously Kenoli is not necessarily favored. Fox has pretty solid. I think I talk about this elsewhere. Fox has a pretty solid like baseline mechanics, right? We've seen that in his games where he like out macroed the Shambler and stuff. He's definitely a player who I think, like, even though he hasn't been super active in the community as of very late, hasn't been playing and grinding that much. I still would expect to see him in battlements, right? Whatever his fate in this tournament. Even if Kenoli somehow styles on him and reverse sweeps him right here, right now. But the Hydras are out. I don't think they're going to be enough to hold on the horde of Quaz that have marched across the map. I think this is actually going to be a game-ending attack here because it's only Hydras. He spent not so much Vespene, actually. He doesn't even have his ski back to make Bactylisks or anything. Feels like that might have been a missed opportunity there. Spending down for Quaz, spending down for Hydras. And we still have Gorgs being pocketed over here that could swoop in at pretty much any time to do the finishing blow. If that are even required. Because I don't think you can... I think you can break this ramp with the Quaz that he's got. And he thinks so too. He's going to go ahead and make the charge. Reinforcing Hydras might make it a little bit harder. Good micro so far from Kenoli as he tries to hold on to his showing here in the opening match of the Tribunal Stage. He is making a ski-backed scab. Fox has a decent amount of money at this point too. And it looks like, yeah, Kenoli will hold in style, but there's so many other ways for Fox to close this one out. Maybe I was preemptive in calling it, though. I really thought we were about to see the swan song for Kenoli in the Tribunal Stage. Don't worry, though. Anybody you see eliminated from the Tribunal Stage still has 3 chances to make it to battlements. In some ways, the most permissive battlement stage we've ever had because we're expanding the number of groups. But still, that just means we should get some, a couple extra, like players that should be there at that stage of the tournament, but we're otherwise, replaced. And what would you say? Gentrified out of the scene because the higher skill players joined or other people practiced out or whatever, right? Like Smarty struggling in that patch against Kenoli. That was I couldn't believe that. I could not believe that he didn't make it into Acropolis 2 battlements. He was so steady the whole way through. But we saw in his match against Kasuga, man, he's mortal. He is mortal. Need to see a lot of Hydras coming out here for Kenoli if he wants to hold on against this many Gorgs. And he's making some, but he's also mutating a lot of stuff. I think Oh my god, there's so many. There's 10 Gorgs in here. He's going after the Larvosks. Oh, he stacked up all the draws. No! Kenoli, that's the worst possible thing you could do. Oh, he's down to 7 workers. Oh, I guess he'll make a couple by having his structures regressed. Wink. Wow. Talk about a gutting. Yep, I think Kenoli's going to take one look at his worker count. He's going to lose these 4 backs. Oh, he burrows them. That's pretty cute. You used to unburrow when you take damage, and we did change that. Oh, he force-killed that one. That's so sad. Splash damage galore. I mean, that's a rough one. That is a stinker. How do you come back from that? The answer, I think, is that you do not. I was already pretty down on Kenoli's chances here. Fox is taking a third. He's kind of playing with his food a little bit. Oh, look, 8 HP hatch. That's cute. Yeah, he probably could have suicided for... Oh! Oh! 1 HP! 1 HP hatch! Okay. Well, I guess there was some value in watching this again. That's crazy. There you go. He got it on the way out. That's silly. Worth it. Yeah, there's no, like, Queen Transfuse like in StarCraft 2 where you might have been able to save that or something, so... That makes it more entertaining. At this point, Kenoli has essentially depleted his main base. You know, he's down to the last little straw. There's no hope. I wish I could hype cast it. Like, Kenoli's going to move across the map with one final push. But with Gorgs going across the map to eliminate him, and with so many other ground units here for the TheNightFox, and with 10 Hydras and 7 Zoryus just hatching back at home, I think it's safe to say we can wrap this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this incredible cast of ZVZ and Cosmonarchy. It was a one-sided affair, a little bit of a romp there, as the TheNightFox will cruise up to meet Krankendow in another ZVZ best of 5, where I would say Crank is definitely favored. He did win his March Invitational group. Looked pretty good versus Shopkeeper Dog and Art of Turtle. Art of Turtle being another Zerg player, who I would say Fox is probably like slightly better than in general for Cosmo specifically, but pretty comparable skill sets overall. The GG is going to be called, and I think the TheNightFox, well, he's going to have a tough showing against Krankendow, but it is on the way. So, stay tuned for that. I guess we'll release that VOD tomorrow if I can get my hands on the replays, and I will see you guys for more Cosmonarchy in the near future. GG.